Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao or Shawn Porter is next. That is what we're hearing from the boxing grapevine. And knuckleheads, if you're an educated fight fan, or even purport to be, even slightly, this one should sit wrong with your soul. This doesn't sit right with you. Not the fact that Terence Crawford wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. Of course he wants that fight. Everybody wants that fight. That's a marquee name. That's big money. And despite the fact that Manny Pacquiao is now 42 years old and probably will not win a fight against Terence Crawford, if you ask me, it's still a good scalp for Terence Crawford and would be his first marquee name, in my opinion. So it's a fight that would be great for Terence Crawford, despite the fact that a lot of people would probably discredit the win because of Manny Pacquiao's 42 years of age right now. But what really doesn't sit right with me in this entire situation is the fact that Shawn Porter is a plan B in this entire situation. And the reason that bothers me is because Shawn Porter is a guy from across the street. He's a guy from across the street at PBC the same way Errol Spence is. And if you're not aware because you've been living under a rock somewhere, that is the fight that everybody in the boxing world wants to see. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. But for whatever reason, it looks like Shawn Porter, a PBC fighter just like Errol Spence, is available in this conversation. But Errol Spence is not. And if you are a real fan of boxing and an objective fan of boxing and a gentleman, this just comes off as ducking amplified, right? This is ducking now compounded. And it looks to me, right? It looks to me, just being an objective observer here, because I'm not a fanboy. I like Terence Crawford and I like Errol Spence. I don't think they're scared of each other. But it comes off to me as a business position that is being utilized to delay the fight in order to erode the commodity in Terence Crawford to the point where he can no longer beat Errol Spence, and then maybe they'll decide to take the fight. And while I understand the business aspect of that, and I understand maybe wanting to take another fight or two in the interim to make as much money as possible in the sport, it is going to continue to hurt the legacy of Errol Spence, not of Terence Crawford, because he's the one that wants to fight. And he keeps calling for it. It's to the point where the guy's blue in the face. He's sick of it. This is going to hurt the legacy of Errol Spence as long as this fight continues to be delayed. And if this fight never happens, I do think it will forever tarnish the legacy of Errol Spence. I will say that I really hope that if the Pacquiao fight doesn't get done and the Shawn Porter fight does happen, that will somehow smoke Errol Spence out of this position into a fight with Terence Crawford, because now they would have a very recent common opponent. They already have one in Kell Brook, but Kell Brook was a little bit of damaged goods, let's be honest here, after the Triple G fight and the Errol Spence fight. But Shawn Porter would be a very recent common opponent from the same stable and could potentially smoke Errol Spence out. Knuckleheads, for me though, right now, it still looks like Team Spence is ducking Terence Crawford. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because that's just what I'm seeing. Tell me in the comments below if you agree with me or disagree with me. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon next to it to join Knucklehead Nation. Finally, hit the join button Join the channel, just 16 cents a day, $5 a month. You'll help me not only build the channel, but the only kickboxing promotion that matters, Fighters Rep Promotions. Hopefully we'll be back before the end of the year. They'll let us put some fights together. And this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one, and this is a situation where the business of boxing erodes at the sport of boxing.